Ryan, one of the other topics that I wanted to touch on was about being able to balance trading and life outside of trading. It sounds like you do a great job of that. So I wanted to ask about your perspective. How do you think about, you know, trading and getting done what you need to do there, but also going out and enjoying life with your family? How do you balance not being so worried about maybe missing out on a stock or a big payday?
I could sum it up by saying I started doing this with the idea that it would give me freedom, that it would give me freedom to be involved with my kids. It would give me freedom to do stuff with my wife. Give me freedom to go on vacation. It would give me freedom to live wherever I wanted to live as long as there was internet. It would give me freedom to not have a boss or have a check-in time or clock on time. It would give me freedom to do all these things. So with that in mind, because that's why I got into it, I didn't get into it necessarily. Yes, I wanted to make money. I mean, obviously, you got to make money to survive, and I wanted to make lots of money. But because those were kind of that was my thought process. Like, I'm not great at school. I'm not sure about my career. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. This is an opportunity for me to do something from home that I could do in my own schedule and give me that freedom. It meant so much to me, that idea, that I've never had a difficulty really in wanting to trade those things for the market. So the market for me is literally just a tool to give me those other things, to give me the freedom. So the five children that we raised, like I don't think I ever missed a track meet or a football game or a basketball game or a piano recital or a whatever it is. And our kids were active. I mean, they've all been athletes slash, doing other things. And so I was there. Now, I'll be honest, there was a couple times where I was in the middle of a trade and I took off to go to the cross country meet for my son, and I'm running across through the forest to cheer for him at a corner, and I'm checking my phone real quick because I was still in a position or whatever. But generally, because I'm a day trader, for me, I like to go cash and I don't have positions to manage long term. And so that's what the way I designed my trading around that freedom. So for me, it was like, oh, I traded for 90 minutes and now one of the kids has a recital thing at school at 10 in the morning. Great. I'm shutting down the computer. I'm all cash. I don't care what happens in the market. And I really like being all cash. So when we go this month coming up in September, we're going on a couple of vacations and we're doing a cruise and and another vacation. And I will probably on the cruise not even get I will probably not even check the market and not trade. On the other one in Mexico, I might trade a little bit in the morning on my laptop from the hotel, but just while my wife's asleep or whatever, for a few minutes. And but even then, sometimes I just don't want to. I'm like, man, I want to go out and go play in the ocean. And so it is only a tool for something greater in my mind. That's the way I looked at it. And so it's easy for me to get away from it because I only did it so that I could get away from it to go support my kids or do something. And so if my son texts me, today and says, "Hey, there's a hatch on the Provo River. Do you want to go fly fishing?" If I'm in a stock, I'm like, "Yeah, oh yeah, exit, out, done, shut the stuff down, let's go fly fishing," because that means more to me. And so if another son or my daughter says, "You want to go hike the mountain up the street?" We got mountains all around us here in the Rocky Mountains. So it's like, yeah, let's go hike the mountain. I only do this so that I can do those other things. Yes. Do I love the challenge of it? Yes. I still, after all these years and thousands of mornings of getting up, I love walking into the office and seeing what's moving and all those things. I do love the market that way, but I just as easily can turn it off because the things I love more have to do with relationships with people and places and things that are greater than the symbols on a screen.
That's incredible. And I think that's a very, very great perspective on being able to place trading in the grand scheme of life itself.
I think so. As otherwise, if you're living to trade, then I don't really understand the purpose. I met a guy one time in Vancouver, Washington. He was living in an old folks home, and I was visiting another senior lady there just to say hello to her and spend some time with her. And I met this guy, and he asked me what I did for a living. I said I trade the market. And he said I traded the market for 40 years, and I said, "You did?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he says, I still trade." And so he took me up to his room at a senior living place, and he has 2 monitors up. And, you know, they were the old school, like, CRT, whatever the ones were, like the big back, the back of it is this big, and stuff. And so they were pretty old and everything, but he had his little charts going and everything. And this guy was in his 80s. And I said, "What do you do?" He says, I still enjoy it. So from time to time, I'll fire up the monitors, and I'll make some trades on Microsoft or things like that. And I'm like, this is awesome, because it was cool, because where I found him, he was sitting down. The market was open during the day, so it was during market hours, and he was sitting down in the couch area chatting with other people. So it wasn't like he had to be there at the screens, and yet he had those there, and he enjoyed them too. And I thought, I like that. I like that he's spent a great life. He had a wonderful life. He said he was just getting older and couldn't really take care of himself, yet he still had his mind there to be able to actually make some trades. And we exchanged emails, and I emailed with him a few times until he passed away. Just like saying, "What do you think about this stock or this, that?" And I thought, this is awesome. Like, this is so great that somebody that could show me that they did it throughout a lifetime and had a wonderful life, and not, um it didn't, but yet it didn't consume them. Like, it's so you got to have that balance, because I think a newer trader, if they're trying to learn the market right now, they're spending so many hours in front of it, and they need to. You got to have screen time. You got to learn how to read charts and the option chains, or the level two, or just got to learn the setups that you're used to and stuff. And that only comes with time, I think, and exposure. But if you're doing that, and I know you need to do that, but I hope you newer traders, I hope you would say, "I'm doing that so that someday I don't have to do that. I'm doing it so that someday I can grab my significant other by the hand and say, let's spontaneously go to Yellowstone, or let's go on a cruise, or let's go do something else, or I'm not going to miss my kids' games, or I'm not going to miss this, because what's the point? What is the point?" And I know that old saying about people saying, what's the one about, nobody ever on their deathbed said, "I wish I spent more time at the office," or whatever. I don't, and I hope, heaven willing, that I can trade for the rest of my life, even if it's mostly for the fun of it. Like, I don't need the money every day, but just I enjoy it. And so if there's a setup that I enjoy, why not? I love it, because it's fun to challenge yourself and make the trade and do that. That has never gone away. I still love that as much as I loved it when I first bought BIGM in 1994 and had no clue what I was doing. Um, so but for the newer traders, if you can keep in mind that you're doing this for a greater reason, and also, by the way, hopefully with the idea that you're going to someday bless other people's lives. Hopefully you can go out in the community and do good things. Hopefully you can give to traders for a cause, or a charity that you love. Hopefully you can, volunteer for something, because you can do that during the day and you have time. I mean, money is part of giving, but also time is just as important. Your being there, and so, I've had the last little while, I've had some neat experiences, and I've been taking my daughter with me, and we've been going and doing some just, uh, pizza party for the homeless type of stuff, going and just setting up down in a rough area of town where there's a lot of homeless camps and so on, and just meeting people and talking with them, and giving them a little bit of food, but mostly giving them kindness, and just that they're human, that they're in a tough spot, but that people notice them and so on. And so I feel like we got to make the world a better place as traders, if we're going to do it. Because, to be honest with you, for example, I have a brother-in-law who's a pediatric dentist and orthodontist, and I mean, he helps little children. He even has part of his setup is for people with, can't remember what you call it, but it would be like autism or different things, where he's set up to see them and treat them. And even the way he has the walls set up and things for those that have, issues with being indoors with certain things. He's just bent over backwards to be able to do so much good for so many people. And I have one of my brother-in-laws is a doctor, a family practitioner in Canada. These guys are doing good all day long for people. Are they being paid well? Yes, but they're doing good. As a trader, I've always kind of thought, man, I'm pretty worthless. I don't actually contribute to society in terms of buying and selling a stock or an option is not contributing to society. Nothing I did in my office today really helped anybody. But if I could leave the office early and go do something out in the community or help somebody else or pick up a friend who's struggling or help them go fix their resume to get a job or go do something with your church or go do something else, then I'm using what isn't really a good there's no benefit to the world in what I'm doing here, but if it allows me to go do good somewhere else, then it is beneficial, if that makes sense. And so in and of itself, this stuff means nothing. But if you allow it to let it mean something in your life with your family, with your loved ones, with what you can do, and I don't mean just always going and giving. I mean, I'm selfish too. Like we're taking most of September and going on vacations. We worked hard and we want to do that, and it's like that's part of it too, just enjoying life. I want to go see. We've never been to Fiji. We're taking a cruise from the Hawaiian Islands. We're going down to see Fiji and Tahiti and stuff. I've never seen that. I want to see it. And so just things like that where it's worth it for those things, but also to bless other people's lives and to do good, because you're not doing much good in your office, but you can do a whole lot of good in the world with what happens if you click the buttons right in your trading. If you do well there.